science fiction is nothing. Science fiction is a genre which can be as dreadful as any other genre, as banal, as conservative, as deeply fascistic in many cases as any other genre, because the genre dictates certain things, and the medium is the message. If it's a genre, the medium is very much the message. The difference between a social novel, where the structure comes out of necessity, out of the characters, or, you know, as it were, technical necessities in writing a book, is not the same as a generic book which demands certain, that you do certain things, or you haven't written the generic, you know, the right book.
Well, it's always been the kind of fiction that deals with what technology and science have made of the world. And today, as you know, the intensity of technology permeates all of society, it begins to cover more and more ground. I'm drawn to science fiction because it seems to me to describe the world I live in.
The science fiction writer should never violate known scientific laws by accident. You know, if he wants to have a ship that goes faster than light, and if it's the only way he can tell a particular story he wants to tell, even though all the evidence is that no such ship can ever exist because Einstein put the speed limit on the whole universe, then I think he's entitled to do it as a literary device. But I don't think he's entitled to make that the central focus of the story, because it's just not true. He can use it as a mechanism, but he can't let the story rest on it.
I think science fiction has a very strong role to play in alerting people to the issues that they will be dealing with in their lifetime. 20 years ago, Larry Niven said, "There is an organ bank in your future," and nobody believed it. He was only a science fiction writer. Now the newspapers are full of stories of people wondering who gets the kidney, who gets the liver, how do we make these decisions?
When the new reality actually comes, which is probably not going to be like any of the, exactly like any of the options that we're actually talked about. It's not that you've seen the way it's going to be, it's that you're used to dealing with difference. You're used to mentally putting yourself in a landscape that functions along different social lines, along different psychological lines, along different materialist lines. And that I think that's a useful mental exercise if we're going to live in a world that changes.
Inevitably, science fiction can and does teach people things because, after all, it's something of an elite literature, and it talks about fairly arcane stuff sometimes. Its programming is indeed to blow your mind occasionally. It's to open your horizons, tell you things you didn't know.